want to introduce Jeff Fowler. He's the head of demand generation for the IT service management audience at Atlassian. Atlassian is a global leader in solutions that assist every type of product and service developer in building fabulous products.
And a brand new sponsor of Formula One racing.
Oh my goodness, you're breaking that here on this
No,
today.
it broke like 3 weeks ago.
That's great. Congratulations. That's a big deal. Jeff has been a senior marketing leader at many global brands, from Visa to Symantec, which is where I had the opportunity and privilege to work with Jeff for about 5 years. And he is an honored member of UVU's marketing board of advisors, and has been working with our university for about 2 years now. We're privileged to have him. The thing I think that sticks out about Jeff to me is those many years that we worked at Symantec together. We were sitting next to each other, and I was over here sort of dealing in the abstract, ethereal product positioning and branding positioning, and right across the way, I could hear Jeff, on the phone, basically 7.5 hours a day, responsible for demand gen, which is really the sharp end of the stick in marketing. And honestly, that data-driven, Boilermaker, high-pressure position is where you've thrived for many, many years now. So super intrigued to hear more about your career and your background. Welcome, Jeff Fowler.
Thank you, Gary. Look forward to having the chat.
Jeff, I want to start with, because I don't know this about you, what did you study in college?
I studied, that was a good question. I actually got my bachelor's degree came in business, but with an emphasis in marketing.
Wow.
So I'm one of the few that I think actually study something. Now, there's a little backstory why I got a marketing degree. It wasn't because I loved marketing. I was looking to get out of school as the shortest route possible. I felt like it was a ticket that I needed to be punched to go into a working environment. So I was like, got my associate degree, so my GEs were taken care of, so I got to go right into my line of work or line of study. And it was either, we got to a point like after my first semester, you had to then choose in the upper division curriculums to go finance or marketing. And I just did a backward look back and move forward. So which one was going to get me out the quickest? And it was marketing by a hair. So
You did the math.
I did the math, and I took the marketing route.
That's great. That's interesting. Did it surprise you, therefore, that when you got in and got into marketing roles and turned out to be kind of a whiz kid at it? I mean, at what point did you kind of go, oh, I guess that was kind of an inspired decision?
Never. I never got that. I came out and didn't even touch marketing for the first probably, so I'll do some quick math, 87 to 97-ish. For the first 10 to 12 years of my career, didn't touch marketing.
What were you doing?
So sales. Mm-hmm. I came in, and sales today would be called more of a brand representative, but back then it was they just called it a regional sales role. But I worked for WordPerfect out of school. It was not, we weren't commissioned. We did demos. There was so much interest in the product. We would just demo to businesses, user groups, all day, all long, 2 weeks in advance schedule type of thing, just nonstop. But anyway, from there, I moved into more of a traditional sales role where I would carry a bag, had a quota, prospecting, demand gen on my own, very few leads coming in. And then that morphed just out of just pure necessity. A job came open. I was at that's a whole nother story about a company I was with, that it was just at the depths of the bottom and then a couple of steps lower. And a marketing role came open, and I'm like, yeah, let's give it a whirl. So that's where, and from there, I actually took a dip back into sales for about a 2-year brief time, and then I came back into marketing for the past 12, 15 years.
How important was that background in over a decade of true sales in making you a world-class marketer?
Yeah, it actually was really good. It was strong because as a sales rep, you have to have a pipeline. You have to have the demand gen element, whether you do it or you have a partner to help you do it or a channel. So there is an element of marketing for most sales people. Where it's helped me is understanding their mentality, the quarter to quarter, kind of mindset, the pressure that's involved, the language, understanding where they are coming from a sales perspective, what they might need more of or less of when it's time to back off. And so that kind of experience living in that sales environment has been extremely beneficial for me coming, over onto the marketing side.
Speaking of education, you've got kids. There is this ongoing debate, and it sometimes it's at fever pitch and sometimes it wanes a little bit, but the debate is around, is a college degree really that important? Is it necessary today? Are there other paths to a great career? How did you personally advise your own kids regarding whether to go to college or not?
My wife and I, we talked about this, and we wanted our kids to at least experience college. At least, I realize that some people say college isn't for me, and I understand that. I'm not trying to talk you into something that you don't want to do. But I think there's a value and a benefit of starting something, number one, and finishing that. And there are some, depending on what you want to do, if you know what you want to do at that age, which is
rare.
Yeah, it's a challenge. But there are some definitely benefits and value, and I encouraged our kids to go into school to get that done. Now, I didn't, I don't know, this might be too much information. They did it, I did not, I helped them with their first semester or to get into a school and maybe a little bit in the second. But after that, they worked and paid their own way through school, which was another indicator for me that it's something that they really wanted to do.
That's right.
I know there's multiple solutions to that question, and I'm not saying one's wrong and one's right, and that was our decision.
Something to be said about a student, and we have many, who decide that this is for them, and they're going to either work their way through or find financing on their own, and the level of commitment, the amount of skin they put in the game, I think is a difference maker.
Now, and what I found is with our family, some of our children were more of a mindset of just from an interest, talent, skill set. I could see them approaching more of a traditional corporate role or a career versus more of a startup entrepreneurial type of a thing. I'll do it my own way. I don't need to go through school to have someone. I want to learn on the streets kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So I do believe, and it's evident in the company that I work for now, Atlassian, if you want to consider going into that corporate, world, those degrees are critical to get in.
Does Atlassian even consider non-degreed candidates for?
Depending on the level of the position, but very few would get a sniff as it relates to the jobs that are available.
More than a decade as a sales guy, now a lot of years as a marketing leader and for whole regions of the globe and whole divisions. What do you think's helped you more in your career? The hard skills, maybe knowing having some specific Jira. You're a Jira expert would be an example.
I'm not an expert.
or you're an accounting expert, or some truly hard skill versus the soft skills that are pretty necessary typically in a sales environment. But what's the balance for you? What's made a difference for you? Hard skills, soft skills. Talk a little bit.
And I think, again, probably not one right answer for everyone, but from my experience, I have leaned more on the soft skills side of the equation than on the hard skill side. I do think there is a need and a balance to have both. It's just what that balance percentage is. Is it 50-50, 60-40 one way, or 20-80 the other way? So me personally, I have found kind of a path to finding opportunities more on the softs with soft skill refinement, improvement. It's not always easy, and that's not to say like that the hard skills aren't valuable. Definitely, you have to have at least a common denominator, a common level of them. Mm-hmm. But for me, it's been a soft skill, more of a lean.
And that ratio of what's critical might change a little bit through the course of your career. I think what a lot of our students see today is jobs that are listed sometimes even as entry-level jobs, but they'll list this long list of hard skills. They want people who are JIRA experts, possibly even certified, or Marketo certified, and so on and so forth. How would you advise students who are trying to break into a marketing career today, coming up against, again, entry-level job postings that are still asking for sometimes a year or more of experience? How do they break in? And again, back to this balance of hard and soft skills for students.
Yeah, it's a dilemma, and there's no easy answer. Don't be discouraged, number one. I mean, you're going to have hard days. It's okay to be frustrated, but realize that it's a process, and you're going to have to, some days are going to be better than others along that process. I would say if you have the ability, if you have the wherewithal, be it finances, resources, living conditions, whatever, find an organization, find a company, do the research on the company or companies that you think are a good fit for what you want to accomplish. And I'm not talking about a 15 or 20 year career. Take it in a 2 to 3 year window if you want, or 5 years. That maybe even be too long in today's world. I know people that are flipping careers, pretty quick. But I think the idea is, if you can, get your foot in the door. Take that entry-level job and get involved in the company, get involved in the culture, learn, understand the people, develop the relationships. Because I tell you, the opportunity to go to the next job or the job after that, you have a much better opportunity and an odds of getting that as an internal candidate than you would as an external candidate, especially in today's competitive world. So if you can, it may not be your dream job, but take it, grab it by the tail, and and run with it. Just take on more. Hey, we need someone to do this. I'll do that. Yeah. Figure it out. Go do it. And I'm telling you, once you get in, and if you've got an environment in that company, if you've done your research and your homework, and that company has kind of the environment and the culture that you really can thrive in, the jobs will become available. That's just my own personal opinion.
Great.
But that's what I would say. That was my experience as well.
Right.
I took a job out of school in a customer technical support on the phone, 1-800 lines. That was my first job that my degree got me. I won't tell you how much a month I made, but I still remember it. But my degree did get me an extra couple $100 a month. But I only had to do that. I did that job for only like 6 months. Yeah. And then I got into this regional marketing rep type of a role from there. And
I'm going to guess that didn't happen for everybody who was on those lines. You stood out. You showed something, and somebody spotted that and said, hey, we'll take you at this next level.
Yeah. And even, again, it's just about taking a chance. The opportunity that came was a summer regional sales marketing role. And I'm thinking,
What happens at the end of the
what
summer?
happens at the end of summer? What if I'm doing a really good job? Will they pull me back and say, go back onto the phones? Really? So very few people raised their hands because it was a summer job.
Yeah.
I raised my hand, rolled the dice, and
Parlayed that into the next big opportunity.
before I even made it out into the field, they had changed it into a ongoing role. So you never know.
Yeah. Speaking of that, you've already told us about moving from a long period of sales to an in-house marketing. Have there been other moments in your career where you just had to make a pivot, and through flexibility, you were able to survive and thrive? I mean, any moments like that come to mind?
Yeah. These are hard moments. It's because not every moment in a career is good, right?
Yep.
There's some hard times. So I made a career choice, a mistake basically, to pursue a job for money. That was it. Money.
You went for the
I went for the pot of
brass ring.
Yeah,
or
I went
whatever?
for the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
Yes.
And it didn't work. Long story made short. So I was put in a position of having to withstand or endure a very challenging time for several months into a year until I found another opportunity, number one. And that opportunity was kind of like starting back over again, because I needed to get out. And so I had to pivot from this is where I pivoted from a sales role into more of a marketing opportunity. And that was challenging because I was frustrated and discouraged from one, and I was going into kind of a new territory, a new land, a new environment. That even though I had studied in school, the education, that was several years ago, and it's
Things
the real
change.
life's a little bit different anyway.
Yeah.
So, but that was a challenging time, absolutely.
Yeah. Speaking of pivoting, what marketing technology or just broader trends are you seeing in your world that you think today's students really have to be smart about and maybe strive to get to know and possibly be master some of these new trends?
One is extremely new, and is the obvious answer is AI. That's
What?
Yeah, that's the obvious one.
Yeah.
But the other one is been around for a long time, but it's different today than it was even when we were working together at Symantec, Gary. So AI, obviously, and I'm not saying it is replacing headcounts. We're not seeing it replace headcounts at all for where I am today. But what it is doing is giving an individual an opportunity to be a lot more effective and productive. So what in the past would take me, 2 or 3 people on my team to accomplish, I can now do that with one person, and so 1.5. So I can now take that other extra resource and we can go work on another project. So it expands our potential to be more effective and impactful. And I still think we're just scratching the surface on that. I saw a quote from Mark Cuban the other day that's just like, if I were, I can't remember what age he said, between 19 and 24, I would be doing sleeping, reading, breathing, AI work and understanding as much as I can 24/7 around that technology. The other one is data. And when I say data, I'm talking about metrics, because I'm the demand gen pipeline marketer from
Metrics are your world.
And we are so much more effective today measuring all different kinds of things, everything from assets to campaigns to channels, emails, open rates, attributions, all of those pieces. The aspect of understanding what is measurable and what those measurements can mean from an analytical perspective, analyzing them and saying, this is telling me X, so I need to maybe pivot to Y. But having that data background or that data understanding, and then being able to take that and move that into a planning and into an execution mode, that is the other element that is extremely valuable. Try to take as much subjectivity out of the equation, push in objectivity with data, and use that for your rationale. Use that for your discussion points. It's not 100%. There's going to be some, I'm thinking this is the way we should go. Yeah. You can do testing, you can do, engage with your customers, engage with your partners, and you can still validate that, all critical. But at the end of the day, that data point of view and using that for your primary decision making is critical.
Yeah, Jeff, that reminds me, 2012, Symantec, I took over global campaigns.
Yes.
And that role was with a portfolio of 53 major products, some of them multi-billion-dollar products. It was a role about trying to decide, okay, for fiscal year 2012, which 4 products of the 53 will get the biggest investment. We'll have a new launch that will, we'll put all the wood behind a couple of arrows here. I came in and I said, well, how's that decision making been done in the past? And no one wanted to talk about it. And I pressed and I pressed and I pressed. And I found out the division leaders, the division heads who own those various products, who wanted their product to win the lottery and get the investment of marketing behind them for that year, would take our CEO at that time golfing. And they would talk about it over 18 holes, and here's why my product probably deserves it this year. And it was this very, squishy, just like who makes the best, who made the best putt. I don't know, but we moved it at that time with the help of a new CMO who was very data-driven from HP, had his support. We moved it to a data-driven, market-based decision-making. But it was a multi-billion-dollar company making huge decisions on what to prioritize for a year based on anecdotes and golfing. So anyway.
Yeah, valid case in point. Absolutely.
You remember those days?
Yeah, I've got a story to tell you about that one as well. Company I was with wanted to do a new logo. And so we put this logo, we had an agency bring in multiple concepts, and we didn't have the ability, small company, we didn't have the ability to do a lot of testing, a lot of user-based testing. Yeah. What do our customers really get when they see this logo? So it was all subjective, all of it. Mm. And we were in a room, little conference room. I think there's probably six of us. And probably 75% of the room was leaning towards option A. CEO, private company owner, wanted option B. Who won?
I have a guess it's the CEO.
Yeah, the CEO wins. We go at option B. 12 months later, it's a disaster, right? But that just speaks to the point of not having that data and that understanding. We didn't have a leg to stand on. If we could have pointed to a user study or pointed to a focus group or pointed to some relevant piece of information that would, even if it was option C, maybe there was a third that we should have gone for. Maybe neither of them were good. But anyway, yeah.
What would be, in light of your emphasis on data, if people are getting these marketing degrees, and by the way, our marketing degree is already heavily data focused. So I think our students are coming up in the business department, at least, with a strong data fluency. But what if someone was going to get a digital marketing or a straight up general marketing degree, is there a minor that you might pair that with that would be a killer combination out in the marketplace?
So I don't know all the minors that are available.
Sure.
But I will say that the opportunity or something that I have struggled with that I wish I would have done, two things, wish I would have done in a college setting, communication aspect of things, being able to effectively articulate a thought or an idea and be that communication writing, verbal, visual in today's world. So that's one aspect that I would say would translate exceptionally well with a marketing background. So that's one I would definitely want to say, communication aspect of things. I don't know what, like the idea of relationship, there's got to be the other one could be just that entrepreneurial aspect of things, or a selling aspect of things. It might be also valuable.
Yeah. Career-wise, do you feel like the best is yet to come for you? Or do you feel like maybe you've hit a high water mark that will just be hard to beat at this point in your career?
I would say I'm not looking, it depends on the opportunity. I like what I do. I'm good at what I do. I'm not looking to try to climb another level up right now. That's not of interest. But if something came along, maybe at a smaller organization that would allow me to continue to learn and grow and leverage my experience, would I consider something like that? I am always going to consider and have that opportunity, because life's too short to stop. And I made a mistake that I mentioned WordPerfect. Fabulous company, one of the top, I would say there's 2 to 3 companies that have been just stellar. WordPerfect for me was one of them. But I held on too long there with regards to challenges that the company and products were having, because I was first job out of school, I was so in the family, so to speak, that everyone else was the enemy. And the last thing I was going to go do is consider Microsoft, right? And that was a mistake. So lesson learned from there, I would always keep, not that my head is up all the time, but if there's an opportunity that is available or you want to consider, you can have that conversation. So to answer your question, if that opportunity were to come along, I would consider that right now. I'm not done. I would say I'm on the tail end of it, but I'm not ready to, as long as I can get my time away and, a week or 2 every summer on the river to try to catch some fish,
there you go.
I'll be good.
Or get skunked
Or we get skunked. It doesn't matter. If
you're in the river,
you're in the water, and it's beautiful days, and it's all good.
Jeff and I have fished together. Talk a little bit about the current environment. What do you like about Atlassian as a company and their mode of work?
It's been a good experience for me. It's a fast-paced company. Exceptionally, the people are exceptional. I love my team, and that's been true the multiple companies that I've worked with. If you can get the opportunity to work with good people, Gary,
Jeff,
that makes up 90% of the issues you have.
Huge,
right?
But I will point out that some of that is you and the attitude you bring. And I'm not trying to blow smoke. You have a way of seeing good in your team members, and I've seen you turn average teams into great teams before.
Oh, that's kind of you. So I love Atlassian. It's fast-paced, and the people that I get to work with are good people. They're intelligent, they're dedicated, and like I said, good people. The other piece that I have just fallen in love with from Atlassian are their values. You can go online and you can look at their 5 values. And what I love about the values is they actually are built into our company culture, into our discussions, into our meetings on a regular basis.
Not just a poster.
It's not a poster. It's not a billboard that people say, look how cool our values are, and then at the end of the day, you don't mean them. So one of the values is open company, no BS, but they don't. You can say
Those Australians.
yeah, and the other one is don't the customer. So seriously, I'm telling you that
Yeah.
because in discussions, the question inevitably will be asked when we're getting into some hard decisions. What does this do to our customer? How does our customer look at this? Are we doing the right thing by the customer? So those values, except it's expressed in the actual terms. And then, as far as being open, if you ever, do I send that to that person? Should I share that with them? Open company, no BS, send it.
Wow.
Go. And so that Atlassian has done an exceptional job of incorporating those values into what I call day-to-day work. Wow. that are helpful, and we really put them to work. So that was a couple things that I love about Atlassian.
I guess I just have to say, Atlassian, I didn't know them that well. We got an opportunity on the agency side to go out and do some work with them. And through getting to know them and their products, so I knew their products. I didn't really understand how systemically foundational Atlassian has become in the software as a service development, agile development.
Mm-hmm.
It would be hard to find another company that provides tools that has enabled the era of every day is launch day was the campaign pitch we came up with for them. Every day is launch day because using your tools, software developers and other developers are revving and iterating and just doing really fast iteration of new tools. And I just kind of fell in love with the company when I got to know what they were doing, what they were about.
Yeah, and what's exciting is from when you made that pitch, the company has continued to accelerate and grow. So now, in addition to the core aspect from a developer perspective, how do we take what our software allows teams to do is from a teamwork perspective, teamwork foundations, where not just the developers, but the IT people that they're working with, the ops people that they're working with, marketing departments, human resource departments, all of those people that have to work together for common objectives with different roles and responsibilities, but understanding how all of that fits together into this organized essence of team. That's what we're about from a teamwork perspective. And even at the highest level, at the C-suite, so you can know what how those objectives are being accomplished, how those measurements are coming, not the granular, day-to-day details, but are resources being allocated into the right areas? Do we have feedback coming that let us know that? What are those metrics telling us? And I know Formula One is kind of a cool thing right now, but that's one of the reasons we wanted to sponsor, and now it is the Atlassian Williams racing team, and because of the teamwork aspect of there's that sport. Talk about teamwork from engineers, design, marketing, mechanics,
pit crew,
these guys have thousands, 1,000 plus employees on their team. So that's the other thing that we're excited about doing is from a teamwork perspective, how we bring all of those disparate components together, putting them in alignment, and making that team just move forward.
Love it. Love the company. Love that you brought part of their culture into our board, and it's just been super helpful. Jeff, I got a final question for you. If you could write a letter to your 18-year-old self, what would you say? So
to my 18-year-old self, I would say, take a chance. I am fairly conservative from a risk-taking perspective. I've always just kind of played the safe hand. I would say, don't be afraid to take a chance. Now, there's certain responsibilities that you might have that could limit that chance, or you have to work through the details of it. But that's what I would tell my 18-year-old self. Don't be afraid to take a chance.
Nice. Thank you very much,
thank
Jeff
you.
Fowler.
It's been great
to reconnect and have you a member of our board here.
Go UVU.
Amen.